and let them do their job. Any questions? You want to talk?
Going into it, I guess, just to put it in a few words, what is it you're asking that the North Charleston Police Department have when it comes to mental health?
First of all, we want them to address this issue here. The community want them to address Mr. Rowe's death. We want them to address why they shot him 3 more times on the ground. We want them to address who gave the command for North Charleston to shoot. We want those answers first. Then we can circle back and deal with the mental illness of the community and who should be out there and who shouldn't be out there. These answers need to be answered by Mayor Burgess.
So you're feeling that North Charleston is falling flat on transparency?
They're not transparency. They're not. Mayor Burgess haven't even called the family and let them know how apology or whatever it may be. He haven't even called the family, and that just don't sound like Mayor Burgess. We want an answer on these things, and we're not going to rest until we deal with this mental illness with the police department.
I do want to circle back to one of the things you said. You said you would like to hear from Dorchester County why there wasn't a command post. I've seen video of the command post there, so is there something else you mean by that?
Well, if there were a command post there, did they give North Charleston the order to shoot Mr. Rose? Why they didn't take control of it? That's what I want to know. Because there's no answer to it.
Have they let you or the family know when you can expect those answers or expect a release or any information regarding Mr. Rose?
Let me just back in on the issue dealing with the use of lethal force and the arrest of individuals who subsequently have suffered from mental illness, okay? One of the major factors that we are looking for is why is it that police officers need to use lethal force in arresting of individuals who subsequently has a mental illness? Why are they always ending up dead, okay?
They know about it.
Why are they always ending up dead, okay? We can go back to Hazel Tate. We can go back to Mr. Wilder. We can go back to Mr. Moon, Mr. Rose, who just was shot, okay? And not only that, we just finished looking at I guess over 5-year-old thing with what's the guy named that was here in North Charleston that got shot in the back 5 times, okay? Walter Scott, by a police officer who was subsequently shooting at an individual using lethal force for an individual who is running away from the violence, So if there's another issue dealing particularly with the use of lethal force, okay, we want to investigate all the allegations there. Maybe at some point in time, the training that is done through the academies and in the state, okay, will adopt a program to deal particularly with mental illness. They don't need to be killed. We know shooting an individual subsequently is a violation of the 8th Amendment. That process.
Let Mr. Wilder talk about it, brother.
Okay? All right, thank you.
What would you say to people who, because there are people who say, well, he did attack an officer with a hatchet and injure him, and then when he was out on the street, he had 2 hatchets and walking towards him. What do you say to those people who don't understand?
That is the issue that, in particular, that we need to address. Okay, we just had a few months ago. Okay, an individual off Saul Road in North Charleston. Okay, they had a rifle, who walked out with a gun. Okay, he suffered from mental illness. Guess what? They took the gun away from the individual, the rifle.
Well,
they took the gun away from the individual with the rifle. Why didn't you kill him? He already had a gun showing it. So issue is, why is the particular use of lethal force the only answer that you got for handling individuals who subsequently have a mental illness? Okay?
Let me answer that question too. The officer from Dorchester County had a bandage on his hand, and it was not serious at all. We like to see that video of I'm pretty sure the officer had body cams. We like to see that video if the officer revoked him to do what he did. And we don't know. The officer had a nick, he could have nicked himself. You know, that's what their defense is. And they always use something simple where a man has a bandage on his hand, couldn't be serious. So let them show the video and see how serious that was. Let the public see how serious it
Well,
was.
to be fair, when I was there, he had bandage from here to here
Mhm.
on his arm, so it wasn't like on his knee. So that might have been a different.
Well, the news said a bandage, you know, so. But anyway, let's see. If he had a bandage from here to here, he should have stayed in the hospital. It should have been real serious. He should have stayed in the hospital, but he didn't. He released him within hours. You know. Here's Miss Waller, who brother got killed by North Charleston in 2006. Yeah.
3 or 6.
Huh?
3 or 6.
6.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, my brother Asbury Wilder was shot and killed by North Charleston police, and when they got out to the Piggly Wiggly on Riverson 526, there were people in the neighborhood was telling him and the officers that he had a mental illness and let family come in and control it. They walked back and forth shooting him with pepper spray, hitting him with the club, and eventually they got to where they decided they was going to shoot him. So they shot him twice. After they shot him twice, then he fall and collapsed. I got pictures, and if you go to that news break, you'll see the pictures that was taken out there at the time. And then once he fall, they had handcuff on him. They pepper sprayed him, beat him, and my pictures show that the officers had their foot on his neck and beating him with the club.
That's North Charleston.
North Charleston Police Department. So when all that happened, we went to federal court, and whatever went on, they dismissed. So then I got into the news media, and I wanted to know, is a federal judge has the right to dismiss the jury and let them make a decision? They all walk, and they continue now to kill our African-American young man. And if you all look, every time I've seen where officers out where there is a white or black, they always control the situation. When it's white. Never do they ever kill a white man. So why would you take our black children like life don't deserve to be with their parents, sisters, and brothers? So North Charleston, when that happened years ago, what they did, they put in where any time there is a mental-ish person, they're supposed to call in mental health. They're supposed to have back. But I was not there, so I was not sure of what happened. And so I'm not sure what happened there. But each and every time I've seen it, it always is that the white walk away free, never ever, and some of them be beating the officers and kicking them and running them down in the whole 9 yards. That is the time your life is in danger. So why haven't they took the initiative? I don't say kill nobody, because nobody deserves it. So if you do it for one, then do it for the other. Do not keep taking these young men's life because you have a choice, because there should be a mental illness, and then they call them out and let them control. I was not there, but like I said, yeah, my brother, when they shot him 2 times, 3 times, 2 times, and like I said, what he did was he fall. When he collapsed, he had handcuff on. The pictures show that. The officer is, from what I can understand, when an officer put his feet, hand, anything on a person's head and neck, that's a violation of the South Carolina law, and they should have been charged for abuse of force. And they want to say that he had a weapon, but that knife or whatever they talked about, and lie and said he hit them. When he come to find out, none of that happened. So they all constantly lie.
Well, I'm going to answer your question. I want to answer your question.
Let him finish.
That happened.
Let her finish.
You're not
No,
finished?
he had his question.
Okay.
I would just like to talk to you for a minute because you have gone through this. You have seen both sides of it, and you're speaking here today. What can the police department do, in your eyes and in your opinion? You know, I would just like to hear from y'all if it's okay.
You want me
To
to
address
separate?
situations like this with mental health patients.
Yeah, my concern, speaking for my brother and my father, my mother and my brothers and sisters, they need to take under consideration if there is a mental person, then let the people who control and know how to handle mental health do it so that we would not have to go through this. It is very sad and hurting to see how many times North Charleston policemen and police and law enforcement keep shooting African American male, some female.
As somebody, again, who's been through this, what do you think the county, the North Charleston Police Department, the mayor, is there anything you think they should do to help address this to the family? You know, as you being a family member of somebody, what is it that you would have liked to heard, liked to have seen, liked to have been reached out about?
Yeah, when it comes to my mother and when they brutally killed my brother, never once did anyone come to my mother's house and say, Miss Gregory, Miss Wilder, we really apologize of what happened. This should have never happened, and take under consideration, we need to work on making sure this do not happen again to another family member. Get together and try to figure out, stop doing that community thing and whatever they've been doing lately, and focus on the real issue. Whenever a person is called, any law enforcement, because it happened all over, any law enforcement, when there is a mental ill person, please call in and have some assistance with people who specialize in mental health people so that this wouldn't keep happening.
Well, this is a lot bigger than just North Charleston. I have 3 chapters that were in Columbia and Marion County who has experienced policemen killing mental ill person. This is bigger than North Charleston. We are putting on a summit that's going to include the governor's office also on next month and Charleston County. We have to do something about policemen interacting with mental ill person. So this is just the beginning of us going statewide dealing with the mental illness of people across this state. So thank y'all for coming. If there's no more questions, we appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.
Yeah, I want to add this. Listen, start. Let me give you some statistical data. More than 1 in 5 people fatally shot by police have mental illness. People who have untreated mental illness are 16 times more likely to be killed by the police. Nearly 1 in 4 people shot and killed by police officers between 2015 and 2020 had a mental health condition. You were asking the question about what can we do, what can we recommend. First of all, there should be no requirements for a police officer to enter on the scene of an individual with mental illness to have a lethal weapon. You have tasers. You have different kinds of equipment that you can use. We've seen it used on many other places at many other times, okay? You should not have an individual who uses lethal force when dealing particularly with mental illness. The other thing that she talked about earlier is the training. Every police department should have a segment of anywhere from 30 to 40% of individuals on the team that answer mental illness crisis trained in mental illness, so they are able to take control of the situation. Lethal force is not the answer. We've seen judges, jurors, and people who make decisions based on their cuff. As in the case with the Wilder, I was one of the individuals at that trial, okay? And the judge dismissed the whole case. Gave no sanctity to the issue before them. They know that they used lethal force. It was okay with the judges. And not only that, this state is filled with racism, discrimination, and retaliatory reprisals for people of color, okay?
That's it.
That's Hispanics, blacks, greens, oranges, reds, yellow, whatever they are, okay? They have a significant disposition. Look at the statistical data. Look at the FBI reports, okay? What goes on in this particular state? Not only this state, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all the southern states are subject with the same kind of issues. Memphis, Tennessee had an issue particularly with mental illness. They now have a model. Look on the internet and see the model that they're projecting for individuals who subsequently treat cases of mental illness. They don't use lethal force anymore. Look at Texas, Houston, Texas. They have a program. They have training. Look around the state and find out how many police departments in the state of South Carolina is actually have more than 10% of their police force trained in how to handle mental illness. They don't have any. Less than 10% goes. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.
It's just one of the things, but they never do anything about it, you know.